Okay, in this lesson we're going to take a look at how to manage files and folders. So the very first thing we're going to look at is basically how to create a file on our desktop, how to rename, and how to delete that particular file. So what I'm going to do is I've got this lovely photograph here, and what I want to have happen is I want to create a folder on my desktop. So I'm going to pick an area that is not overtaken by an icon here on the left hand side. I'm just going to pick an open area. So I'm going to click, I can pick somewhere here on the lake and right click, somewhere here on the flowers and right click, somewhere here on the mountains or in the clouds here. Anywhere like this is where I want to right click. I want to basically right click outside of a gadget or right click outside of a desktop icon, because when I do that I get different options than what I have if I've right-clicked here. So I don't want that to happen for me. So if I right-clicked on the gadget, I would get gadget options. Right-click on the desktop, I get desktop options. And one of the options that I want is the new option down here. And I want to create a new folder, as I mentioned before. So that folder is going to house other folders that I want. So I'm just going to basically click on New and click on Folder. And I'll name this one, I'll just name this one Windows, or I'll name this Computer Basics. And once I do that, I will right click, or left click, I'm sorry, outside of that area, and that essentially deselects my folder. So again, I would right click somewhere in the unused area and left click down to New and left click onto Folder. Would I do that? Notice that when that folder is created, it's highlighted in blue in this scenario. So I would take my hands off my mouse and I would just begin to type. So I would say type Windows 7 Essentials. And once I complete typing, my I-beam there, blinking I-beam cursor is right there. Then I would take my mouse and just left click outside of that area, and when I do, it deselects that file folder. And it's important to deselect because I don't want that still selected. If I do, I would get other options as I right click. So I want to have that deselected. So now I've got two folders selected or created. I've got Computer Basics and Windows 7 Essentials. Let's say I wanted to rename one of those folders. I would you can simply right click. You would basically hover over that folder file, or that folder, right click with your mouse, and you have options down here at the bottom. One says delete, one says create shortcut, and rename. We want to actually rename this one just to say Windows, we'll spell it correctly, Windows 7. We will deselect again by left clicking off of that area, and now I've got a folder that's renamed for me. Let's say if I wanted to delete this particular folder, I can go ahead and select the folder by right clicking it, and I've got a delete option here, and I can delete that folder and get rid of it, throw it in the trash if I wanted to. I don't want to do that, I want to keep it. So I'm just going to deselect that. You can also take your mouse, hover over, and drag it to a different location if you want to. Kind of, match them up. You can also click and drag outside of those two areas. Click, drag, and hold. Select both of them. We create kind of a lasso with your mouse when you do that. And when you click and drag and hold, you can select both of them, and then you can move them at the same time as well. So if I want to put them up here, separate from my shortcuts, I can do that and move them around if I wanted to. I can also click and drag. If I left click on this Windows 7, drag it directly onto the Computer Basics, I can move to Computer Basics folder, release. Now as I double left click on it, it is located inside of my Windows 7 folder, or located inside my Computer Basics. Up here I've got Computer Basics and Windows 7 folder inside of that. So that's how I would do that. If I want to drag it out of there, double left click on it, click and drag outside, and it brings it back outside. And that's essentially how to manage your folders.